What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jordan, and on my channel I discuss all things keto, carnivore, low carb, provide tips and tricks to help you get your health back on track, as well as sprinkle in some grocery hauls and full days of eating. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing down below. Man, some time has gone by. It's nice to be back in front of the camera. Still not something I'm 100% completely comfortable doing, but challenging myself to get better at day after day. So I appreciate you all sticking around, watching these videos, subscribing to the channel, giving it a thumbs up. I'm hopeful to be able to bring some more content to you on a more consistent basis again. So anyways, with that said, that out of the way, today we are going to talk about the topic of having carbohydrates on the ketogenic diet, what type of carbs you should have, when's the ideal times to have them, and so on and so forth. And again, this will be based on my experience in the three things I think, and 3 times I think are most impactful to have carbohydrates for sustained benefits of using them. And that is, number 1, going to be before your workout. Using some quick digesting carbohydrates, even if it's straight dextrose or sugar, something like that, can be useful in the gym. It's going to give you a little bit of a performance boost. You will feel like you're probably getting more work done with less effort. Now, is that a good trade-off? Maybe, maybe not. That's for you to decide. But if you want to have some muscle sparing, protein sparing effect, having 30 to 40 grams of quick digesting carbohydrates from rice cakes, again, dextrose if you want a straight sugar, honey, all natural raw honey. Even if you wanted it from Whole Foods, then have something like white rice that's going to digest quickly, get glucose in your bloodstream for you to use an hour or 2 later in the gym. Ideal time number 2 to incorporate carbohydrates in your ketogenic diet is going to be not before the gym, but the opposite, after the gym. Go into your workouts in a carbohydrate depleted state. Let your body, again, do the hard work in creating glucose on its own. To me, I feel like you get more bang for the buck. And then afterwards, when you're extremely insulin sensitive, you can have some glucose with some lean protein in order to help your body shuttle that protein into the right places, into the cells, into muscle tissue, partition it in the right places a little more quickly with that sharp spike in insulin. Again, after a workout, things I would have would be white rice or potato. I know that's not as easily broken down as white rice, but I enjoy sweet potato. I may even add a little bit of honey with that to help speed up the process, and probably some fruit as well, as fructose and glucose kind of are metabolized through different pathways, so you can kind of get a little bit away with a little bit more. I, right now, after my workouts, am tending to have a sweet potato with dinner, not immediately after, maybe 45 minutes to an hour after, with some watermelon, and that seems to be doing fairly well for me without negatively impacting my body composition in any way. And again, because you're depleting more muscle glycogen during your workout, your muscle will become more, let's just say, sponge-like and ready to absorb the glucose that you do take in after the workout. So I think you get more bang for your buck. You can really, maybe not literally, have your cake and eat it too, to more extent and more benefit after your workout, when your body's primed and ready to take up quick digesting energy and protein and utilize them properly without storing anything. Carbohydrate stores harder, surprisingly enough, than fat does, as when consumed in excess. So you can, in theory, get away with more carbohydrate intake after a workout when super insulin sensitive than you can even with fat. You have some lean protein with it, so there's not any combination of fats and carbs together to make sure energy in excess gets stored immediately, and that kind of puts your mind at ease, knowing that you're not going to be storing anything. You're just helping protein be shuttled into the right direction at a faster pace and utilized by the body while it's in its absorptive rebuilding mode. The third time I think you can get away with carbohydrates on a ketogenic diet, and this might be a little bit of a shocker, it is going to be when you are in a weight loss plateau. So this will help. Having carbohydrates maybe for a meal or two when you're in a stall will help reset your leptin levels, let your brain signal the gut or the body to mobilize fatty acids for energy again, saying it has enough energy on hand, we can release some of the energy we have stored, and kind of give you that leptin reset that you need as you become more and more leptin resistant, as you're restricting calories further and further to try to lose weight. So 1, don't do that for a long period of time. 2, consider one day where you have 1 or 2 meals with carbohydrates, and try to get in probably a couple hundred grams, at least from my experience. I know when I look super flat, super depleted from water, not necessarily lethargic because my energy levels are great on a ketogenic and carnivore diet, but I just get that feeling like, okay, something's slowing down. I'm having to eat fewer calories less often to continue progressing in leaning out. So when I do that, I get about 150 to 220 grams of carbs. Again, it'll be for me mostly from resistant starch from potatoes, heating them up, letting them cool, eating them. I may put a little bit of marshmallow fluff on there just to sweeten the pot a little bit because I know I'm trying to get the carbs. Again, this will be with a leaner protein source like a 93.7 ground beef, or even potentially leaner like a chicken or a very lean pork. When you're in a plateau and you've been plateaued for a while, I mean probably at least 3 weeks or more, and you've been in ketosis for a long time, it's time to take the next step and probably just reset your leptin levels through a higher carbohydrate, lower fat cheat day. Make it a meal, make it 2, or make it dinner and dessert, so your carb frequency, which I've touched on before, is still in a short window, right? You don't have carbs all day still, or you do through your vegetables, your normal ketogenic carbs, but just be mindful that it needs to be, you need to plan it. It needs to be a leaner day of eating, right? No added fats, not super fatty ribeyes until you get to the evening time, because you're gonna have carbohydrates. You don't want the fats and carbs together. And then you implement your carbohydrate-based foods, your rices, your potatoes, your other whatever it be, fruits, vegetables that are higher in starches, that are higher in carbohydrates. And then if you want, you have a little bit of dessert as well, stuff that's not going to upset you. Get your leptin levels reset, start over the next day. So many people say that it works, it jumpstarts their weight loss again. It gets their brain and body out of calorie restricted mode where they're constantly holding on to the little bit of energy you're feeding it because you're starving it of food. You're probably not already eating enough as it is, and you've been doing this for a long period of time. You need to have a higher calorie day. Carbohydrates seem to be a way to allow for that without feeling super satiated. So set a protein goal for that day. Make sure it's around 1 gram per pound of body weight. Get there, and then set a carbohydrate goal depending on activity levels, but for a lot of people about 100 to 200 grams of carbohydrates, and get there and keep your fats low, probably under 60 grams for that particular day. A lot of people even end up in ketosis still by the next day. So you're really, again, going to have your cake, probably literally in this context, and eat it too, and still reap the benefits of ketosis, your leptin levels being reset, and weight loss. So those are the 3 times I think it is most beneficial to have carbohydrates on a ketogenic diet. And if you've been doing this for any amount of time, you're probably wondering if you should, when you should. You might have been craving them a time or two but didn't give in. Just know that these 3 times you can have your carbohydrates and get away with it and not have to feel guilty about having them. So I hope this information helps many of you. If you're new to this channel, again, please consider subscribing down below. Check the links in the description. Comment if you have any questions about what I'm saying, if you hate the video, if you like the video, and so on and so forth. I appreciate you sticking around. Until the next time, keep up the good work, and let's get healthy together.